It is clear, America is losing every war that it has started. I say this because as multiple conflicts erupt around the world, the US finds itself at the center of almost all of them. Just look at today's headlines. Today, the US struck more Houthi targets in Yemen. It took place at around 2:30 a.m. The United States military's Central Command said they struck 2 Houthi anti-ship missiles, resuming what US officials said were short-notice attacks. The US said these attacks are against the Iran-backed militia's imminent threats to merchant vessels, as well as Navy ships passing through the Red Sea and nearby waters. This is the 9th strike by the US on Houthis in just 2 weeks. It came a day after both the US and the UK carried out much larger military salvos against 9 sites in Yemen controlled by the Houthis. Those strikes against multiple targets at each location hit radars, drone and missile sites, and underground weapons storage bunkers. The Houthis, who control the most populous parts of Yemen, have said that their attacks on Red Sea shipping are in solidarity with Palestinians amid the Gaza war. These attacks have disrupted global shipping and deepened concerns that the fallout from this war, the Israel-Hamas war, could destabilize the entire West Asia region. Since the United States started striking Houthi military sites in Yemen on January 11th, the Pentagon says it has destroyed over 25 missile launch facilities and over 20 missiles. It says it has also struck drones, coastal radar, air surveillance capabilities, as well as weapons storage areas. The Pentagon spokesperson, Major General Patrick Ryder, said at a news briefing on Tuesday that the fact that the last Houthi attack was on January 18th suggests that the American strikes were having an impact. But is all that really true? Some analysts fear that the Houthis are not really deterred. They fear that the Houthis are just biding their time. Last week, Biden admitted that the American strikes won't stop the Houthis. He said in a briefing, and I quote, "Are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes." So what is it that the Biden administration wants to achieve in Yemen? Biden's strategy in Yemen aims to weaken the Houthi militants, but it stops well short of trying to defeat the group altogether or directly confront Iran, which is the Houthis' main sponsor. According to American media outlets, this strategy seems to be a blend of limited military strikes, sanctions, and it appears this is aimed at punishing the Houthis while at the same time attempting to limit the danger of a wider regional conflict. In West Asia, the United States is maintaining war-level military deployment. Its aircraft carrier, the warship USS Gerald R. Ford, is stationed in the eastern Mediterranean. According to Reuters, Biden has signaled his approval for a sustained, if limited, air campaign, blessing a Pentagon strategy to put armed Reaper drones and other surveillance platforms up in the skies over Yemen. But what will they do? For starters, they will help the US warplanes and ships hit Houthi mobile targets as they pop up. But the question is, will it work? Will it work to protect the Red Sea shipping? The US formed a naval task force, remember? They call it Operation Prosperity Guardian. The point was to stop attacks by Houthis altogether. So far, it has been lackluster, to say the least. It has seen a tepid response from US partners. US allies like France, Italy and Spain are operating independently. Despite being a key regional player, Saudi Arabia is also absent from the US-led operation. It is because Saudi wants to avoid any negative impact on Yemen negotiations and its relations with Iran. Furthermore, the UAE's reluctance may stem from avoiding perceived support for Israel. That's perhaps why Operation Prosperity Guardian's inability to function as a coalition highlights divisions among US and its friends. This only adds to the doubts about the US's ability to drive international cooperative mechanisms. Do not forget, the Houthis may have turned the Red Sea into a war zone, but they are also a battle-hardened group. They have fought the Saudis for years. The Houthi missile threat is now known to be quite high. Their arsenal is substantially more. Therefore, Houthis have proven themselves to be a formidable adversary to the United States and its allies in the Red Sea. And that is exactly why that the US has no good options when it comes to combating the Houthis in the Red Sea. Before I tell you why, here's what else you need to know. Not just Yemen, the US also conducted airstrikes in Iraq. On Tuesday, the United States struck 3 facilities linked to Iran-backed militia, the Kataib Hezbollah. These strikes came after a weekend attack on an Iraqi airbase that wounded US forces. Since the Israel-Gaza war began in October last year, US troops in Iraq and Syria have been attacked about 150 times. That's right. This is a message from Tehran to its arch-nemesis, America, a message of resistance. You see, these attacks against the US are a form of retaliation for its support to Israel. The Iraqi government strongly condemned US strikes. A spokesperson for the Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani said the US strikes blatantly violated his country's sovereignty. The US is aware of the perils of such an escalation. The United States has tried to tread carefully, engaging with regional powers and sending messages that it wants no escalation. It has even openly demanded of its ally Israel that it limits civilian suffering in the war and end the root conflict, which is the Gaza war, as quickly as possible, that too, but to no avail. For the longest time, the United States has been the most powerful nation. It won 2 world wars. It defeated the Soviet Union, and it still possesses the world's top military. But for the past year and a half, the United States has imposed gigantic costs on Russia by supporting Ukraine. That has also started looking like a lost war. Then the US started supporting Israel in its war against Hamas. That has opened new fronts in West Asia. Let's not forget the issues in the Taiwan Strait, the Korean Peninsula. How many wars can America fight at the same time? All of America's adversaries, Iran, Russia, China, they're all prepared. But the question is the US ready for a war of great powers? Or more importantly, is America in any position to stop it if it boils down to it? WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.